Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be two of the best late game bots taking each other on. It is Caninana, the Zerg bot, taking on Ketroc, the Terran. And so we've got a TVZ, ZVT, whatever way you look at it. More importantly, a bot versus bot match. And so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, if we can get 15 likes on this video for the fact that it's a 15 pool from Caninana, that would be great. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yes, we shall see how these two are going to do against each other. Based off the win rates, it does seem that a lot of Ketroc's builds are not the best against Caninana, seemingly. But Ketroc does pick builds based off whatever one performs best to increase the odds, which I think in something as automated as these SC2 AI games, like games are being played 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that means that you can get lots of data and make decisions off of that. As like, oh gosh, I was checking the stats for my bot that I uploaded. It's got to have been less than a month ago, and it's already played over like 1,000 games or something like that. Well beyond that, I believe, actually. And so it's like, that is a lot of data. And yes, let's see here, as we've got a scouting Zergling going out for Caninana, and a couple queens on the way as well. Ketroc behind this is just going for a factory, getting up its own expansion, as Caninana does go for a little bit of a scout. The Marines aren't hunting the Overlord this time, though. So that Overlord will be very lucky to get on out of there, as Ketroc just plays it nice and safe. This Ling thought about going for it, but then turns around, seeing those Marines. That's the beauty of programming a bot. If you want a unit to operate in that it basically just runs away from all enemies, that's a fairly straightforward thing to program. However, you can also have it commit more to the scouting, like Caninana's Ling kind of did there, trying to confirm whether there was a natural, and it did. Now we do have Burrow on the way for the Zerg bot, a queen on the way. Caninana notably does go for that early pool, plays it very safe, and that allows it to stay alive in a lot of situations that could be a little bit precarious otherwise. Ketroc is going for a couple Hellions out of double factories, interestingly enough. I'm wondering if we will see a Hellion dive out of these, or whether they'll just scout around, that kind of thing. These bots, though, the timings are a little bit different in these games, as, of course, there is the speed mining. On the SCVs, anyway. Mules, I don't believe, are affected by speed mining at all, to my knowledge. A scouting Ling comes in, sees there's Hellions. But, yeah, basically, the bots' builds tend to get off the ground a little bit quicker because they're not as limited by minerals. Using worker, or minimizing worker deceleration, they actually are able to mine about 7 to 10% quicker. It'll vary depending on which bot author you ask, but it definitely does have a notable impact on the timings in this. Two Marines in a bunker taking their hatred out on some rocks. Meanwhile, Ketroc, with its 2 factories, is now going up to 2 starports. Caninana continuously is sending in these Ling scouts just to see what's going on. That is something that you can sort of rely on, just having your bot go for a scout, say whether it be every 60 seconds or just have a certain number of Lings active. The Zerg bot, though, is doing just fine in this game, getting a 4th hatchery on the way on a very, very low drone count. But Caninana will have lots of larvae, and should be able to pump up in those worker numbers soon. Ketroc does move out with its Hellions, plants a Widow Mine at its 4th or third base location, pardon me. So it's actually taking the unconventional expansion location. Ling tries to run on in, does make it up that ramp. Marines pop out of the bunker though, not giving that Ling any extra time really. And so yes, an unconventional expansion location by Ketroc, going to land this command center there, take the gases immediately, and that's gonna set this game up to be very, very unusual, as usually like the fight is over, like this base at the third, or this base trying to be like the fifth or the sixth base or something on this map, whereas now Ketroc, wherever it decides to expand later, could potentially be the battleground, but maybe this is the correct approach because it is easier for the Terran to take this base later, arguably, than taking this one later. And a lot of these bots do tend to just use pathing distance to decide where to put the next base. There's a lot of ways you can go about that, particularly as Terran, as of course Terrans can float their command center, so that's another decision you get to make as a bot author. Do I want my bot to build command centers on location every time and just risk it for the biscuit, or will we take the safe approach? And we do see a variety of that. Changelings are being tossed out for Caninana. The Zerg bot has got a solid economy here, getting up an infestation pit, 64 drones, getting upgrades on the way. We'll see a fifth base go up probably sometime soon. For now, though, the Banshee of Ketroc is coming on in. Banshee and Raven duo, a very good duo, able to clean up this creep rather effectively, both of those units flying, of course. Now, Cyclones are trying to poke at Caninana, but we do see those roaches simply just pop into the ground basically as soon as they're locked on. A couple Hellions did actually scoot into the natural base, but unfortunately, or the third base, pardon me, but unfortunately those Lings can just burrow. So the time has kind of passed unless Ketroc is going to use a scan or have a Raven, which it actually does. So these drones cannot save themselves by burrowing. The Banshee coming in, going to finish off a few of those. So Ketroc actually does get a nice little bit of harassment done on Caninana. Lots of drones forced underground, as tanks are also coming up on the front lines for Ketroc now to actually turn this into quite a serious push. So what a significant move out by the Terran, as Caninana is being pushed hard at its fourth base. I mean, the Cyclones, their effectiveness is still questionable, but with tanks, with Banshees in the sky, or a Banshee, there it is, just flying around, harassing. Caninana could also lose Queens against this, and it looks like it will, because they can't simply just burrow and escape as easily as roaches. The Terran behind this does have an extra command center done, and then it's immediately building another, so just taking a slow expanding route. Now the tanks, Widowmines, and Cyclones are still poking on the front against Caninana. Lings coming forward. The Cyclones will micro back against those as quick as they can. Widowmines going off. So the Lings are taking care of those Cyclones, and they may actually get one of the tanks, if not both of them here. So Ketroc does overstay its welcome a little bit, as oh, there is more tanks back there, though, as Caninana does have a fifth base on the way finally, though. And the Terran, yeah, sets itself up in not a bad position at all, I don't think. We see the fourth base already getting established for the Terran. I mean, it's not that early when we look at the fact that the Zerg is on way to its fifth, but then we do have double CCs on the way for Ketroc as well, so that Terran economy really, really is booming when you factor in the few mules that are getting dropped as well, with almost 4,000 resources, well, 4,000 minerals being brought in a minute, which is a lot of minerals, guys. For context, that's 40 Hellions, 80 Marines in 60 seconds, if you mine that quickly. So let's see. Ketroc, scouting out, has identified that Caninana has a spire, saying, I'm going to start building Vikings to counter that, which I do find interesting that the bot author did make that choice. I'm going to start building Vikings upon seeing potentially that there's just a spire. Although I suppose it did say conditional Viking production started. So maybe that just means that if it sees some air units, it will start building Vikings. Although it does already have one on the way, and actually a few out already. So we'll see whether Caninana actually makes many air units to actually justify those Vikings or not. We do have one Banshee being chased by a Corruptor. They are Zoomy Banshees, though, with hyperflight rotors, so they can escape away from that. The Terran does have that Third base getting established now. Fourth base, well, pardon me. Third base location getting taken, but it's actually like Ketroc's, oh gosh, that's its sixth base. Seventh base, if you count this one that's being just randomly thrown up on location over here, that very well could get established. So that could be quite nice for Ketroc, as the Terran bot is still poking out on the map. These bots, the thing is, they just fight everywhere all at once, as the Terran is trying to poke the Zerg. Not going to have that much success, I don't think, but still, the fact that these units are out on the map all the time, another expansion being thrown up for Ketroc, so actually going to be taking more bases than Caninana. This is definitely a good start for the Terran bot. Now, as both of these bots head towards max out, we'll sort of see how effective their compositions are. The Ravens, the Banshees notably being built en masse. Ketroc, though, is still a ways away from hitting that sort of like final form, as it's investing in a ton of command centers still getting up more tech, more production. Caninana, meanwhile, building up lots of spore crawlers, getting up infestors, and just securing up at 6 base. So getting that 6 is an important milestone for Caninana. Banshees may be looking to potentially deny bases later on. However, the Corruptors are pretty effective at chasing those Banshees away. Just their presence alone sends them packing. So then it's up to the Vikings to try and deal with the Corruptors here, as we have this game of chess going back and forth between these bots. And yeah, Ketroc just continuing to poke on the front. However, there's a new threat, as Neural Parasite does catch one of the Vikings. That's going to be the first of many, I imagine, in this game. But man, oh man, as there was another bit of Hellion harassment going on. Look at this. Ketroc actually getting a base in the upper right side of the map. However, Corruptors are actually spewing on that, so we'll see whether that gets interrupted or not, as the Vikings aren't there helping. So this base very well could actually get assassinated by 2 Corruptors. That caustic spray goes on literally forever, as it's a very unique ability in Starcraft 2, so that planetary will be shut down. So that's actually massively important for Caninana. Unfortunately, Ketroc did not save that. I guess it's busy expanding to literally everywhere else on the map. There is turrets up at the other locations, which could help defend against future caustic spray, although positioning will matter on that. Banshee's trying to deal with the roaches on the ground. However, the Corruptors in the sky are being quite oppressive, so the Viking count matters. And all of a sudden, we are in a situation in which, oh my gosh, the Zerg has Neural Parasited like 4 Vikings at once, just landing those even. And then that Viking, oh, it is off on the march. Now deciding to want to attack. It does get taken care of by a random swarm host. Caninana is now also hitting Ketroc's base on the left side of the map. This planetary getting killed off would be quite good for the Zerg. The Terran really put its best foot forward with trying to expand as fast as possible, but Caninana seems to be doing really good in the past couple minutes with the trades and shutting down the bases. If it can kill off this base, that will set the two sides on equal economy in the long run. Neural Parasite catching more of Ketroc's Vikings, and we even see Queens transfusing the Overseers to keep them alive. That's nice, as those could very well be a resource sink. Ketroc is now attempting to re-expand to this location, but there's already Corruptors there. Caustic spraying. Ketroc has to cancel that CC. Now a refinery is being worked on as well, so that's definitely a pain for Ketroc. Tanks are sieging away. Raven dropping auto turrets, revealing those roaches, potentially allowing some of them to be killed. Ketroc, it does have very good expanding behavior, though. We do see it just attempting to retake these bases again and again, and it's kind of that throw it at the wall and see what sticks, and I'm a big fan of that. But man, oh man, these Vikings are getting way too far forward. They're killing off some Overseers, but Fungal Growth, Neural Parasite catches a few of them. I mean, they are picking off what has got to be a fair few Overseers, so maybe that will be the metric we track in this game, like as far as how the air battle's going. Have more Vikings died than Overseers? The answer is 12 dead Overseers to 21 dead Vikings, so that is not that good. There's also only been 1 Corruptor killed off, so Caninana is getting some much superior trades compared to its opponent. We have got Roaches and Lings now poking at these other bases, as we'll see if Ketroc can hold on to these, because that's going to be very, very important for the Terran. This base getting reestablished. This base must have been canceled again, but is now being reestablished again. So Ketroc really willing to try again. The planetary is holding on. for now against its opponent, as we do have both of these bots being maxed out. Upgrades still rolling for both of them as they're just trying to reach their final form. One Ling hitting this base in the upper right. That's quite nice. Ketroc coming in with Banshees trying to find some nice pickoffs. We'll see if it really can or not. Almost gets a Roach. That's why that ship weapons will definitely help out in the long run. This base is turning into a planetary successfully. However, it was a planetary before and then it died. Now we do have some SCVs trying to transfer for Ketroc, getting grabbed by Caninana's Lings, so that's quite nice for the Zerg. Banshees trying to chase these roaches away. We've got Vikings still flying around, funnily enough. The base in the top right shut down again, but that's not going to stop Ketroc as it decides to send another SCV on over there. And that's the really fun thing about Ketroc and Caninana. They have these epic late game matches that are just always fun to watch. Mass Banshee, 20 of them in total, being revealed by the Overseers, having a hard time killing those roaches, but +2 flyer weapons is done, so that could really benefit them. As Ketroc is coming in here, I honestly wouldn't mind if we saw a few scans from Ketroc. I think that may be beneficial when it is at least like flying over creep or something like that, because it does have 5 orbital commands, which is quite a few. Banshees do take care of a Spore Crawler. They are picking off some Zerg units, however, at great expense for the Terran. These Banshees, they've been hit with a fungal. They are going to escape, or at least a few of them will, with significant losses. This planetary, though, has been established and is happily mining. It's going to depend which bot can take this base in the upper right, Ketroc or Caninana. That's actually going to be massively important, because if they have an even number of bases throughout this game, that's going to favor Caninana, which is taking better trades. But if Ketroc can either deny that base or take it itself, that could really flip this game on its head, as this PF is working away on some of these units coming forward. Hydras, though, are poking off of creep. We'll see if the Banshees are going to be able to muster up and potentially deal with this. Overseer presence for Caninana really is nuts, though. It's always got Overseers where they need to be in order to reveal things like cloaked Banshees. We've got the Zerg bot spreading creep towards this upper right location, so Ketroc might not be able to take that base. We'll see. Vikings are en masse, able to volley down a Corruptor there, so that's quite nice. Overseers flying forward will be getting worked on, but look at this. Friendly fire from the Vikings as some of these got hit with the Neural Parasite once more. Banshees still flying around. Hydra's still poking on the front lines, causing problems, as the Terran bot is just getting up more production, producing more and more units. Caninana is trying to poke this base in the bottom left. SCVs are repairing as a Corruptor does get into the sweet spot, and we have definitely seen this happen before, where a Corruptor will just caustic spray a planetary fortress until the end of time. So we'll see if that gets interrupted at some point or not. The Zerg bot still hasn't taken the upper right location. Caninana just happier on a lower amount of bases, but look at this. In comes the Zerg, going to break this planetary again. Nicely done, as Ketroc takes another blow to its economy. Now it really needs to get some damage done to the Zerg. As Banshees do come on in, the Zerg is out of position with a lot of its casters. They're going to target down the Spore Crawlers to remove the threat to them, and then they can just set to work on whatever they like. If they can kill this hatchery, that would be quite a nice return. But as we do see, Caninana is coming in with a lot of Hydras, a lot of Queens, and the Banshees, I mean, they're pretty good. They deal a lot of damage, but they're simply too soft to really contend with this much Zerg. So Ketroc gets pushed back again. Resources lost. These bots are still trading at about a 2-to-1 for Caninana, so the Zerg bot is trading far better than the Terran, as Ketroc has lost, let's see, 29 Banshees, 35 Vikings, 68 SCVs. Caninana's biggest loss has been, I guess, Lings and a few Hydras. The Terran is now attempting to get this base up once again. Caninana is kind of ignoring that. But yes, the Terran is in a little bit of trouble. Raven does make it up to the right to push this creep back, so Ketroc's like, yes, I still wish to secure this base in the upper right. I will try and try again, which is very cool to see. Lings are moving forward, killing off some of the SCVs that are on deck to repair this planetary. Ketroc notably doesn't have that many SCVs at the outer bases. Like, this base has got so many SCVs to repair it, but these outer bases on the left they haven't really had that many SCVs at them present to repair, which could be hurting Ketroc in the long run. I'm guessing it's because they've been like trying to send SCVs constantly to repair, well, to establish that base. As we now see mules on duty to try and repair this PF. There's simply no SCVs here to heal it. Can Caninana kill this planetary? The PF with 74 kills has definitely had some good cost efficiency. Banshees are flying on in. This is a situation where I think a scan would be really nice for Ketroc. But Banshees do move in. They see that Caninana is attempting to expand to this base towards the north. That's going to get killed. Not cancelled, notably. That's just how much DPS the Banshees have. And let's see, a big fungal growth does catch a lot of these Banshees, so that is a painful start. Fungal growth catches another portion. Ketroc is killing off a few Hydras on its way out. However, so many of those Banshees died for relatively little value. One hatchery, I mean, yeah, like a couple Hydras in there, but nothing too significant. The Terran bot still has yet to get this base up on creep on this left side, as it needs more SCVs here. Gonna have to resume building that turret, get some more workers repairing this planetary, and we'll see if that SCV actually does that or not. Will you repair? It's not gonna matter. It's actually just going to die. So yes, this is quite painful for Ketroc. Banshee's not really helping out. They're just always on the offense, and Lings are coming in here, harassing a little bit. Base in the upper right is being harassed. This is where the Banshees of Ketroc really can shine, denying mining at a base for a low investment of like one Banshee. But we do see Ketroc has now lost that base on the left side there, so it's really falling down in the economy. And securing another base might just not be possible against the Zerg swarm that is Caninana. Vikings are still flying around. If we zoom out, we still can't really get all of this battle into the screen, as there's just units simply all over the place. The Zerg is coming forward once again. The Roaches looking to get some efficiency, hitting this PF. Raven flies over that battle. Raven does not care, as yes, Ketroc is in for a little bit of trouble. And this is a situation where I think building command centers maybe in the main base and then floating them over would be beneficial for the Terran. But as we see, I mean, Caninana is doing a great job. This base, okay, it will now probably be shut down by that Corruptor. Ketroc really down on the economy, down on the income, down on the trades. Trades have shifted slightly better for Ketroc in the past few minutes, and being on the defense definitely may help with that, as it is killing off a boatload of Roaches that are coming forward right now. And yeah, we do see the Banshees getting some good pickoffs, but there's the Infestors getting value, locking onto a Viking, and all of a sudden making it shoot its teammates. Does eventually get released, though. Banshees are still doing work, killing off some of these Roaches. And if Caninana does keep feeding Roaches in a situation like this, that could actually be really nice. Neural Parasite steals a Raven, it then tosses down a turret, which is very cool programming. As the Zerg just continues to try and push on in. Caninana now taking all the bases that Ketroc once eyed up. Things are not looking good for the Terran bot. Mules being dropped to get some money from a long distance. Unfortunately, these Hydras are actually killing them off quite easily. Banshees in the sky are still doing significant work, improving the trades for Ketroc the longer the Terran bot is on the defensive, as Caninana is feeding units into these planetaries. The Banshees really are doing a great job picking a lot of these off. Look at these Roaches coming in behind the PF, getting found by the Banshees, just going to volley them down so quickly that their crazy regen doesn't actually matter. But yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for Ketroc to potentially come back in this game. It's got a very good bank still. I mean, 6,000 minerals in the bank, 7,000 gas, killing off a ton of Roaches here. Neural Parasite going down. And yeah, let's see. Constant Locust Wave being tossed out. Banshee's doing what they can. Ketroc is spending a lot of its money. 7 Ravens at a time is very, very significant. The Terran bot really doesn't have anywhere else that it can easily expand to. We've got a tank being worked on now. Banshees will come in, maybe save the tank, and they do. As just this constant assault by Caninana is going on. Broodlords working away on this base now, so that's going to be reduced gas for Ketroc. Not that there's a lot left at those refineries. The Terran will eventually start burning through its bank, though, as one Hydra does end up here and is actually killing off some SCVs, which is quite painful, but the Terran has really improved its trades lately as that margin slowly closes up. Unfortunately, Caninana does have a much superior economy presently. To make it over to this base on the left side, they may actually kill off that hatchery, which is a big deal for the Terran, so nicely done. As Ketroc is trying to expand outwards again, it's shut down this base, kills off another drone. Being on the defensive really does seem to benefit the Terran bot. So really just hunkering down and letting the Zerg attack into it is where it gets the good trades, as Ketroc really was taking all the bad trades when it was on the offensive. As now there's only 17,000 resources lost between them. It's like maybe there's a chance. It's going to have to be some incredible trades for the next while, though, for the Terran bot to potentially come back in this. It's going to need to keep shutting down these bases that belong to Caninana. And just keep collecting resources. But look at this. It's doing a phenomenal job killing off these Hydras that step forward, killing off these Roaches. That's the power of Banshees clumping up, while it's a weakness against the Infestors that throw out those spells. Like, once a Roach or a Hydra steps too far forward here, they are easy pickings. So Ketroc is holding on. It's trying to potentially get up new bases. We saw it try and build one here briefly. Banshees are going to free that location up. Maybe we'll see a command center get thrown down there. Banshees still are being chased away. There's one way to get the mule from the money from that base. As Ketroc drops a ton of mules, they are going to try and bring at least a little bit of the money back to the Terran. Banshees are still getting some good pickoffs here. As Roaches get too far forward, the Ravens really reveal them, and there's actually not that much anti-air present for the Zerg, aside from the Hydras right now, which, I mean, it's currently 9 Hydras against 23 Banshees. The Ravens throwing in auto turrets too is helping out Ketroc. 13,000 resources lost between them. The Terran is trying to get an SCV over there to build that on location. I really would have preferred it to be flying that over, but who knows? Maybe it will actually be able to get it up. I do have my doubts, though, because there's just so much Zerg around here, but you never know. Neural Parasites are still going down. Ketroc is still on the defensive. Tanks are holding the line, and this really, it really is interesting, the dynamic between these bots. Like, that Ketroc is actually able to... It starts to look way better when it's actually kind of losing and it's lost a bunch of bases. Then it starts taking better trades against Caninana, which goes to show all the things you have to consider as a bot author. And now let's see here. Tanks shelling away still. Ravens in the sky. They are all short on energy, though. Aside from the odd auto turret being dropped here and there, Banshee's going to work, killing off quite a bit of this Zerg. Caninana has basically paused mining gas, as it's got such a big gas bank and is actually short on minerals now. It's just trading out so darn quickly that its bank is actually falling, and while Ketroc has got barely any income left at this point, there is a world in this game in which Caninana starts to trade out so quickly that it does burn through all its money despite having extra bases to mine from, and then maybe Ketroc can potentially get like a snowball going against the Zerg. Now, these Vikings do need to be careful for Ketroc. They are not cheap to replace. Where are you guys going? Get on out of there, please. That could be big losses the Terran bot really can't afford. Banshees in the sky are still doing their thing. Caninana does seem to maybe solve this problem a little bit, though, simply by pulling back, or, well, just by being pushed back by Ketroc. And once it does seem to lose enough units, so then it starts to trade better, being more on the defensive, which is notable. Auto turrets targeting down corruptors is cool to see. Ketroc is really trying to reestablish this base. Auto turrets are getting thrown down all over the place. Banshees moving towards the left side, going to try and shut that base down once again. Also, they are in position to kind of defend this, but it's still not being built. Ketroc really needs to get this base up. The requirement for that is huge. The Zerg bot, though, is now down to 1,400 minerals. Resources lost are within 6,000 of each other. The problem is for Ketroc, once it runs out of minerals, it will fold like a wet piece of paper, as it's just going to not be able to repair its units, that kind of thing. And I believe Ketroc probably has just been consistently repairing its units. Yeah, it's got SCVs under all of these. The base does get canceled once again, which hurts. There's no more minerals coming in for Ketroc at all, unless it decides to go for a big mule mining attempt once more. Caninana, though, is quite broke at this point in time. The Zerg is coming forward. Stepping onto the PF will cost it lots of resources. Ketroc is potentially going to make Caninana broke after this engagement. Yes, the Zerg is now at 0 minerals, so it will be replacing less units than it possibly can. Banshees still flying around. The Zerg is also kind of mining from this base. If Ketroc can shut that down, that would be nice. Banshees trying to pick off whatever units they can. Fungals, though, are still getting some good efficiency. The Terran is also just about out of minerals, which is really going to hurt. And notably, if there's no minerals, that means there's going to be no base built by Ketroc. Ravens throwing down auto turrets non-stop. Caninana is falling down in supply. Ketroc, oh, it actually must have done the mule thing, as it has gone up in minerals a little bit. Okay, let's see here. As Ravens are dropping auto turrets, Caninana now down to 185 supply, unable to sustain these ridiculous amount of trades while it's on the offense. So offense and defense really matters in these games. Banshees are coming through. Ketroc did have this base be denied once more. Maybe that was the last time. We'll see. It does drop some mules, trying to keep the money coming on in. Banshees are still trading out all right against these Hydras. Vikings doing what they can. Ketroc, though, is now flat broke itself, as a mule does bring back a little bit of money. Banshees are being chased around. Yes, that does mean that Ketroc will not be mining that much more, though. The hope of rebuilding a command center, I think, is probably gone. Caninana can just keep trickling out units. Long distance mining now from this location. The Zerg is actually going to be starting to mine out itself, as resources lost, I think, finally have gone in favor of Ketroc now. It's just got to really make up the difference with more and more of these auto turrets and Ravens to basically win with the army it has, as it's not really bringing in much money at all. It's getting a little bit of mule mining going on. Who knows, maybe that will be enough, but those mules dying actually is pretty significant. Auto turrets are actually killing off a ton of these roaches, though, as they do have ridiculously high DPS. The Zerg is still poking out all over the place. The Terran is trying to harass with Banshees in the upper right. Killing his base 10 minutes ago would have been good, but it might still be good now. Ketroc actually going to take money away from Caninana in the long run with those mules, trying to mine anything they can. But yes, the money for the Terran isn't really present. There's nothing left to spend to repair right now. This game is close. I'll give it to Ketroc. It's still definitely been on the back foot, as Caninana has played a very solid game so far. Looks like we have some queens planting like potatoes. Spinecrawler trying to kill a mule that's trying to steal money, as Caninana is having Ravens run all over the place. Corruptors trying to hunt down those Ravens. Mules still trying to bring in some money. SCVs even long distance mining. Good economic management by Ketroc. Ketroc trying to hunt down the burrowed roaches, as auto turrets do kill off more and more of the Zerg force. There's presently 40 Ravens out, which is just ridiculous, but they're getting quite a few kills here, as Lings, though, are being very good for Caninana, denying this bit of mining. The Terran has killed this base in the upper right, which will slow the Zerg's income a little bit. Vikings are being chased by Corruptors, but that Corruptor may go get a transfuse from his queen homies. This base being denied now, so Caninana's income is falling itself. As Banshees are coming on in here, if they kill off this base might be the only source of income for the Zerg bot. Oh man, I don't know if there's a way Ketroc can win this game, but it's actually looking very, very darn close. Caninana is now doing the March of the Queens as well. Both of these bots are down to 130 supply. They're both falling at the same rate, despite Caninana having more money than its opponent. Ketroc is long-distance mining a little bit. That's probably going to all be spent on repairs. Vikings will probably go down to these Corruptors, so that is a nice pickoff. The Zerg is losing resources, though, as it just constantly has units getting picked off by these Banshees. The Ravens are just flying over creep incredibly boldly, but, like, killing off every unit matters in this situation right now. Auto turrets going down. I mean, whatever they kill is just huge for the Terran. These Ravens, they're all rather injured, but they're not critical. But there's a nice fungal from Caninana. A few more of those, and Ketroc will probably just lose all its Ravens, so that could definitely be a big deal. The Terran bot is also spending minerals on SCVs, which, I mean, I guess it kind of does need, but that's kind of just lost money at this point. I think resources lost 79,000 to 78,000. This game is so darn close. I honestly thought that Ketroc was probably just dead, and it very well still may be, but, like, Caninana is barely mining itself. It's got some long-distance mining in the upper right. Look at this, one Banshee being an absolute nuisance, as Caninana still long-distance mining there. Ketroc, though, is long-distance mining here now. I mean, it's maybe long-distance mining further than it actually needs to, but the Terran has been attacking so much, it's actually taken the heat off itself. But look at this, really nice fungals from Caninana, catching a ton of these Ravens, forcing them to retreat. These Ravens really need a repair. There's not that much money to repair them, though. Like, repair is not cheap, guys. At least for this many Ravens. Like, one unit, yeah, okay, barely makes a dent in the bank account, but when there's 36 Ravens that are all low on resources, that can really hurt. 105 supply to 105 supply. Somehow Ketroc still has a few Banshees flying around. We're even seeing a random turret be built. Okay, it's got an urge to rebuild that turret. Ketroc is just about out of gas now too, saying tag, no gas. Still a little bit of minerals coming in. Okay, so it activates marine production and Hellion production once it is completely out of gas, so very cool to see that just decision by the bot author. And yes, let's see, auto turrets getting thrown down en masse, still killing Overseers even matters in this situation. There's 8 Overseers left, 7 Banshees. Caninana is trying to take this base to the left side. Ketroc, though, somehow makes the correct call to come in and attack this location. Shutting this down would be huge. It's 106 supply to 106 now, so each bot has grown a few supply. That base does get shut down by Ketroc once again. How many Infestors is there? 4 Infestors out for Caninana still. That is a big deal. There is a random Corruptor causing problems still. Ravens are like, oh, we want to get back here, but there's a Corruptor. That thing's scary, man. And rightfully so, as it's just caustic spraying that base. Ketroc is actually bringing in more minerals than its opponent, not more resources overall, as it's got no gas. And no gas potential, really. Look at this, the Medivac even healing the SCVs, doing the long-distance mining. Mules are still being dropped. Auto turrets killing off another Roach. They've killed so many Roaches. The Ravens do a really good job from Ketroc. They stay on the Roach until they have the energy to throw down another turret. Then they do. These Ravens are so injured, though, flying over an Infestor. Will there be a fungal? Ketroc attempts to split, but it does connect. That's going to be a few dead Ravens as another fungal goes down. Oh, man, this is so close, as Ketroc's units have just got barely any HP, barely any energy, too. Auto turrets are getting thrown down, but they're not killing these Corruptors, which are pursuing. There's presently 29 Ravens left. Ketroc is still bringing in a little bit of money. Caninana, though, is as well. Long distance mining. This game is so freaking close. Banshee's still flying around. There's 3 of them left. Auto turrets are cleaning up creep during this, too. I mean, that matters. However, there is still 12 Queens out, so that can definitely be respread for Caninana. Drones dying. Hatcheries being shut down is a big deal as well. Ketroc's Ravens are very auto turret happy, but unfortunately that does sometimes put them in a situation where they've got no energy to defend themselves, as Hydras and Corruptors are chasing them around. I mean, it really is incredible programming on the Ravens by Ketroc. Caninana, though, I mean, its infestor programming really is almost perfect. Like, these infestors haven't really died that much this game. Only 3 infestors have gone down. So I know I'm giving lots of credit to Ketroc here, but that's just because Caninana is doing things perfectly. It's easy to take for granted. Looks like, oh, Ketroc actually, oh, it must have crashed or something. Oh, dear. Oh, man. I did not expect this game to end with Ketroc just being defeated, but maybe maybe it GG'd or something, or something happened that actually caused the Terran bot just to up and die. Oh, that's honestly a little heartbreaking. Yeah, I guess we'll never know. Yeah, huh. I did not expect that. Like, we can look at it and see which bot would have won, but like 26 Ravens, they're so injured. Ketroc has got no gas. It's got 7 Marines. I mean, but there is Queens out, there's Swarm Host out, Infestors out, so like it's still going to be very good efficiency. And the Ravens are all 1 or 2 fungals away from dying, so like I want to say that Caninana probably still would have won it. But yeah, I wonder what caused Ketroc to be defeated. I guess it must have actually just crashed out. I'm kind of curious. If you guys give me 1 second, can I actually check the match history here and see? Did that actually end in a crash and I totally overlooked that? Okay, no, sometimes games like aren't actually tagged as a crash. I think, depending on how it happens. But yeah, anyway, really well done by Caninana. If you guys want to see a rematch, I honestly probably wasn't going to cast a rematch between these two, at least on Abyssal Reef. However, it is very exciting. We should be having new maps for the bots to play on at some point in the future here, so that'll shake things up. But yeah, if you watched up until this point, click that like button. I think we'll declare this a Caninana win, although it was so darn close. Yeah, I just think that like Ketroc, without being able to repair the Ravens, they will all just get picked off, and then maybe like Caninana wouldn't ever be able to kill the 4 planetaries, so maybe it would have been a tie. But yes, I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe if you watched till this point in the video and you're not subscribed. Leave a comment, and then yeah, if you do want to support the cast, consider becoming a YouTube member. That goes a long way. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.